Well, what's next, huh?
Well, the next one, now we're coming to herons. Herons in a close vicinity of where we are now. In fact, I think they're some 6 miles or 7 miles from Hyde Park Corner, in an island in Walthamstow Reservoir, where there's a heronry of, I think it's 40 to 50 nests there. They've been there for some time.
Well, it's a far cry from the Highlands of Scotland to Walthamstow
Yes.
Reservoir, isn't it? But now, herons normally nest in trees, don't
They
they?
always, I think, practically always nest in trees. There are occasions up in Scotland, I think, where they haven't got trees, where they'll nest in rhododendrons or on the side of hills. But normally you find them in trees, and usually in very, very high trees.
Well, I've never been to Walthamstow Reservoir, but there's an island there.
There's an island,
Yes.
and luckily the trees weren't too high, because we had to put up a pylon hide, and I'm not very partial to going up too high on those pylon hides, especially when they sway slightly.
Yeah.
And I was level of the treetops, though, in order to be able to look down onto the nests that surrounded me, and there were a variety of nests all round.
Can we look at the films you took?
Yes,
from
let's
there,
look at
huh?
them now, and you'll be able to see the type of view that I was looking at from this hide.
Yes.
Well, before that, we've just got a couple ones here of herons in flight, so we can compare them a bit with what we've seen of the eagle in flight. You've again got a vast great wing span, the legs stretched straight out behind, and the neck doubled back, except just before landing, where the neck comes out and the undercarriage is left down. You'll see this bird just landing
Yes.
on the tree. Well, then I thought it might be as well just to have a small picture of a heron fishing before we went to the nesting period. And there's one. It's some way from Walthamstow, but it does give one an idea of the system by which they fish in some places, going from rock to rock and looking down into the river. And with this astounding sight of theirs, they're able to see through this fast-moving water and to spot a trout in it, and not only spot it, but to catch it as well. Now we've arrived in Walthamstow. We're right up in the treetops, and there in a walnut tree we've got a heron perched high up, looking over the whole of the island. There's one perched a little bit lower, and I go on round to a nest here with a young bird inside it. There's another cock bird resting on a tree asleep close to me. There's a hen roosting in a nest where she reared a family before. And here we've got a very interesting scene where one bird is taking over from another bird while they're still sitting on eggs. It's a changeover, and there's a great ritual about it. You see, a stick has to be picked up by one of the two birds and handed to the other. Unfortunately, in this occasion, the stick got caught in the bushes, and you see him still trying to get his stick out long after the other bird ceased to have any interest in it at all. Here we have a one single bird in a nest, a little small bird with a parent bird. I think it was the cock bird with him there at that time, and he'd just been fed, but he was still very hungry and didn't think he'd had half enough, so he took the opportunity of biting his father's legs while his father was scratching himself, which must have interfered with the scratching considerably, I think. Anyhow, the father passed on to repairing the nest slightly. There we had another nest with some young birds that had just been fed, and they're rather displaying to each other after their feed. Here, some birds a little bit younger still, in a nest with this extraordinary disheveled heads that they've got. They've got this down that sticks up straight on their heads that makes them look as if they've never brushed their hair at all.
That's an adult, isn't it?
That's an adult that had just flown in suddenly and had settled close by, and I swung on to him. That is a full-grown young. There are two there in that picture. They'd left the nest, were jumping about from branch to branch. There's another one of them there, yawning. And when the parent birds come, they bring the fish or frog or whatever they are going to feed them on, put it into the nest, and then these birds come down to the nest again to feed on them.
It would be largely eels, would it?
Largely eels, frogs, mice, roach, perch, in fact any small fish that you can get there.
Yeah.
I think there are a good few fish in Walthamstow Reservoir, which makes it fairly easy for them to find the necessary food for them.
Wonderful.
That's a wonderful neck, as you see. In fact, very hard to photograph. With a stretch of the neck, and out goes the head out of the picture.
Yes.
And you can't very well pan up and down all the time. This is, we're back again now to the one on the top of the tree, balancing himself.
Well, what a lovely little glimpse of those herons.